I'm down here on the floor fixing the Suzuki again. So what happened this time was the brake caliper had seized up while I was over at Max's, and well, the driver's side front tyre was locked up and it was spinning down the paddock. It was a pretty wet day as well, so you know, it was also helped, but it was fully locked up, and I got back to the house and it was cooking hot. You could barely put your hand near it, it was that hot. So what I did, I put a pair of vice grips on the brake line, I pulled the caliper off, and I just took the brake pads out, and then I screwed it, bolted it back on, and I went home with no brake on the front here, but got me home. And then once I got home, I took all this off, had a bit of trouble getting the caliper off and getting the brakes out and all that, but all in all I got it off. And then I worked out that my piston in here was seized. So I spent probably 2 days soaking that in lanolin. I finally got that out, but then I noticed, as you can see, the all the rubbers have kind of warped in a way, expanded. The seal inside had expanded much bigger, probably 20 mil bigger than it should be. So that was a problem. So I ordered a new rebuild kit, and that's what we're doing today. Alright, so seeing as though I didn't film or anything taking the caliper off, it's pretty simple, right? What I do is clamp the brake line up so you don't get any brake fluid coming through. Put something between the line and the vice grips or whatever you're using so it doesn't break the line up. I've still got them there because this leaks just a little bit. Now grab the caliper, and there's 2 bolts on the back. You'll undo only one if you're changing the brake pads, but to take the whole caliper off you undo both. There's like a bolt on the back, and that bolts the brake line on. Undo that. It's fancy on newer cars, I'm pretty sure, but this is the old Suzuki. It's just 3 bolts really to take it off. Give it a bit of a whack with a hammer if you're having any trouble, and it should just pull right off like that. Alright, so now that the caliper's out, get your rebuild kit. It comes with your dust boot, your inner main seal, all the little boots for your, I don't know what they're for actually, but all the boots here comes with that, and a new retaining clip for the dust boot. So the problem I had with this thing is that my piston had actually seized up inside of it, and I had to get it out somehow. So what I did is I soaked it in lanolin spray, just down there, and I had it in the vise sitting up like this, and then every now and then I gave it a few taps with the screwdriver through there, some solid taps. Then I got compressed air. Once it was further enough, I just went, put it in there, built up heaps of pressure, and eventually it popped the piston out. And that's how that got out. Bit of effort really when this is seized in there. But the thing is, because I used the lanolin, all these had swelled up. And I'll find the old one. You can see how much bigger the old one is. If it will focus. It's, well, the old one can fit over the new one. That's totally buggered. And then your dust boot, my dust boot's also, well, look, it just ripped open then, buggered. Now, in your caliper, this dust boot, there's a little kind of steel retaining clip, which is this one. That one actually goes in there and holds it all in, and you have to get that out. So, get a small screwdriver or something in there, get behind it, and it should just pop out pretty easily. You see? That's the retaining clip just there, and then the boot should just pull out easily like that. So also at the back of it, you've got this seal, and that sits inside there in a little groove. If you can see it, just in there, and the rubber boot sits in this top groove there, and the main seal sits in that groove just there. And you just got to push this one in. But what I did first, you get some sandpaper, fine 400 grit or 600 grit or something, and just clean the end of this up. Get rid of any rust or old brake fluid or anything like that. Clean up the inside, clean up all the mating surfaces, and then you'll be right to put all your seals and dust boots back in. Okay, so you want to put your seal in first. Just kind of push it in there. there you go, she's all in. You can probably just see the black seal around there. Okay, so there's a bit of a trick to get these pistons in. You want to get this like oil, put a bit of oil around it, make sure it's all slimy, and then put it over into the first lip on the piston, and then drag it back and get it out of that lip onto the actual body of the piston. There you go, just like that. And then you pull it down just to the end there, and then you'll be able to push it in like this. There you go, the piston's in a little bit. I'm just going to try and get the seal into the groove there. But as you can see, it's all in there, and then you want to push your piston in like that. And you see, piston's in, seal's in, we're all good. And now I'm just going to push it out just a little bit, just enough so nothing comes off. And then you want to get your little steel ring and put it around on the outside. Okay, there you go, your ring's in. Now just make sure it's properly seated all down the piston. Have a look down the back. Push it in with one of these tiny flathead screwdrivers, the best thing. Make sure it all moves easily, which mine does. Back and forth. Moves out easily, well, you know, with a fair bit of force. Moves in easily. Push that in until it's reasonably flush with it. And then we're ready to take all these rubbers out and then put it back on the car. Okay, so to get these like rubber boots off the side here, you push the pin out, pull the pin out like that. Remember which way it goes. So the notch goes to the back wall, I guess, facing this way. And then you've got your screwdriver, oh, they just pop out like that. Easy. Get your new ones, oil them up. There you go. And then you want to put them both in like that. Make sure it's all seated in there. Put the front one in, all seated in there. Then you get your pin, or that one up too. Might give you a bit of a wipe, it was a bit dirty. Give it a nice old clean. Get a bit more oil all over it. And then off down, push in this way. And just, very slippery, it's quite hard to grab onto these. Alright, got it in, a lot of force. And then push it through out the other side. Pull that one over. This one doesn't have a notch on it this side, so it kind of just sits on there. This side you got to get it into the notch, you know. So pull that back a little bit, and it just seats itself in there. And there you go, they're all in. Make sure it slides back and forth reasonably easy. Bit of oil in both of them. And there you go. Rebuild a brake caliper. Okay, so all you need for this is 2 sockets or spanners, doesn't matter what you use. A 14 and a 12mm. So, your brake caliper, that's where it normally sits. Grab your brake pads. Have a look on the back, because if you took them off and you're not replacing them, see where they went. See how this one's got like a bit of a round circle on it? That one means it went on the back side where the piston is. So you pop that in the back there, and there's these sort of springs, right? And they clip in there. They probably won't come out when you pull it, but if they do, just remember where they go. Even have a look at the other side. Pull the wheel off. If you're really unsure, just have a look. Now you put those on, this top one. But before that, there's these two kind of also clippy sort of things. That'll clip under there like that. Same as the other one. Clip on like that. And your brake caliper, give it a clean out and just sit on top like that. Nice and simple. You got two bolts, two 12mm bolts you've got here. They go through the back like that, up into the holes behind. You should have a torque spec in your manual if you got that. I don't have a torque wrench, but I do have a torque spec, so we'll just give them to a, you know, reasonably tight. See how that moves back and forth? What happens there is, when the brake piston comes out, it pushes on that one, and when it pushes on that one, it has to be able to lever off somewhere, because that'll be in the middle, right? It'll push off, and then it'll pull this one in, and it'll clamp them both together. So that's how that'll work. These are all in there. These are just clips to kind of hold it in. Now put your brake line on. You got this little bolt here. Can't just use any bolt, special bolt. See, it's got a hole through the middle, so you can blow through it. Oh, brake fluid, not good. Don't do that. That goes through there, but first, you know, you need the washer. Clips on the back there. Put it in there. And then sits in the back there. Okay, so to bleed the brakes, we've just done it then. You have to have two people. It's almost impossible to do it without. So you open this, and then get the person in the car to put their foot to the floor, and then you close this. And then you tell them to let the foot off the floor. And then you repeat that until there is no air coming out of it. And it spins freely. A little bit of dragging, but that's what it did before. Put your foot down to the floor, and it locks up. All works perfectly. Now I'm going to take it for a drive and see how she goes.